Welcome back to another episode of Matter of Fact. I'm Tommy here with my main man Rob, and today y'all won't believe what we about to talk about. We about to talk about the main enemy, the main enemy.
Yeah, they're ahead of the game. They beating us, maybe close.
China. They got these dark factories. They so automated. They don't even need lights. Fuck humans. They're making money. Shit. I don't know what this means, but we about to get into this. Let us know if y'all think we are losing.
With lights dimmed and no workers in sight, this car factory in China uses hundreds of robots to churn out dozens of electric vehicles an hour, 24/7. This is a dark factory, an area of the plant so automated and with so little human presence that, in theory, the lights could be completely shut off. Factories like this one are part of China's bid to use hyper-automation to dominate the electric vehicle or EV market. But the furious trade war between Washington and Beijing raises a key question. Who is going to buy all these new cars? For decades, the abundance of cheap labor explained why China was seen.
What you think about that?
I think that's genius.
I agree. I think that's genius. I think that's innovation. I think that's the future. And they're.
But
doing
what
it
about
in
all the
China.
Chinese niggas that don't got jobs now?
Exactly. That's another problem. But I don't know. It's very difficult to say.
That's not your problem.
Well, not right now, but it could be if we do that. You know what I mean? And that's what we'd be like, hey, they're ahead of us because they're doing that. And I guess I would say the same thing. And we hold on to stuff. They don't have unions and stuff like that.
Get UPS get FedEx to automate the shit.
They actually already are. They're already working on those sort of things. Those companies are working on robotics. I think China's way ahead when it comes to robotics, obviously. But we're working on the same stuff. Throughout time, like we thought when cars were invented, that would disrupt the economy. Same thing with the internet, same thing with the typewriter, all of those things, even electricity. There used to be people whose job it was to go light the street light candles and shit. That was their job. They're going to lose their job. And they did, but new jobs came about. So that's what we got to hope. Eventually, I don't know, is there an end to that where it's just like, no, we don't need you anymore? Maybe.
That's you want to make a business and you hoping for that.
What, that we don't need no people? No. I totally disagree with that. I think the human element is very important and will remain important in a lot of jobs.
But let's say you made a job that don't need humans. Like, it could be all automated.
Well, the sad fact is, if the option is there, someone's going to take it, and if it provides such a competitive advantage, you're going to be forced to follow suit, or you're just going to fall behind.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't really agree with this, but it's either that or die, then you're going to do that.
Unless the market bands together and buys the more expensive off.
It's a world's factory floor, but the economy is changing.
The labor costs had been going up in China for many years. I think it happened faster than many people in the West expected. And so if you're a factory owner, you want to find a way to blunt the impact of that. And automation is one very obvious way.
Rapid advancements in robotization has helped create what is now known as dark factories.
Alright, so this nigga speaking Chinese. He said, in our welding workshop, there are more than 800 robots working simultaneously. Here we can achieve almost complete lights out production.
This is ZEEKR, a Chinese luxury EV maker founded in 2021, whose cars cost up to $125,000 a piece.
Why that shit look like a fake ass Rolls Royce?
You gotta get inspiration
from China, yeah.
Right, you gotta
made in China ass Rolls Royce.
I think it is a third of the cost.
It's electric,
It's electric, which and they got that infrastructure in China. That's the way they're actually
No,
going. With all
would
this
you,
stuff.
the American Rob, buy that shit?
Well, unfortunately, Tommy, America cannot buy any automobile from China. So if you could, motherfuckers would, because there's so many options, and with stuff like that, the cost of production is so low. You could buy cars for $25,000 again. But we don't allow that to happen because we don't want the competition, because that competition would destroy our domestic market.
Damn,
That's
I did not know that.
matter of fact.
Flagship factory in northeastern China, the automaker can already produce up to 300,000 cars a year, or more than 800 cars a day. For comparison, Tesla has similar production levels, but it took more than a decade to achieve this volume. For ZEEKR, robotization has a double advantage.
那我们也要面临人员的成本的上升，那我们希望能够通过自动化的方式，能够帮助来提高更高的产品，更低的这个制造成本。
Some tasks still require a human touch, such as the meticulous assembly of the cables that run throughout the car. Workers also go into the factories to perform tasks like robot maintenance. The company's ambition is to keep automating, to deliver its cars to customers even faster. In China, ZEEKR is not an outlier in automation. According to the International Federation of Robotics, in 2023, every other industrial...
Damn! I don't even know what this draft is, but they blowing niggas out.
Yeah, so look at that. That's saying industrial robot installations. So essentially making manufacturing facilities that are using robots to do what they want to do. And China is way ahead of everyone else combined. You can just see that right there. All those other ones aren't even going to get to the end like that China. You know? So, I mean, that just shows you the level of production that's possible in China. But at the same time, they also said that there was a problem with that. You could produce so much, but who are you going to sell it to? They used to sell it to the U.S., but with all the tariffs and stuff like that, especially cars, you're not allowed to sell those at all. So it's, it could be a double-edged sword there. Especially with China, they need to increase their wages for their people so they can have a consumer-based economy like the U.S. did. That's kind of the only way you go. After that, in terms of becoming an advanced society, it seems like. I guess we could see if there's another way, but so far history has shown there is only one.
Robot installed in the world happened in China. The country's levels of robotization have grown 7-fold since 2015, when President Xi Jinping introduced a Made in China 2025 initiative to transform its image from the world's factory into an innovative manufacturing powerhouse.
The aims are to be able to produce more of what China needs at home and to get to a level of technological advancement where they don't need to rely on the US and Western countries anymore for inputs, or to reduce that reliance as much as possible, and even to be able to produce enough that they can export. And part of that was to have robotics play a larger role in the Chinese economy.
How big of an impact do you think that will have on the U.S. if they're able to achieve that?
To do what they're doing there? Well, I think it already provides a massive competitive advantage. And where I really think that advantage comes is that they're developing the technology in their home country, they're testing it, they're trying it, proving its effectiveness, and now they can export that to other countries that want to do something similar.
With malware and spyware.
Who knows if there's malware or spyware, but even if there is, and they give you these robots and you can have these factories in your own country, let's say it's in South America somewhere.
You'd be cool with it?
We'll be building that shit there. It's a capitalist society, dude. So it's about money. It's like, hey, can I make money? And if somebody can offer you this, and somebody says, hey, man, I know how to set up an old school factory with some people, which one are you going to take? American dudes who say, I got that old school factory with some people.
Which one are you going to take?
I'll tell you how. Or these folks say, I'll bring you some robots that'll do it all for you.
Which one are you taking?
I'm probably going to go with the robots, because that's the future. Facts.
Some American automakers believe China's widening EV lead, boosted by cheap state loans and subsidies, poses an existential threat to the industry.
When you have a country like China, where much of the auto industry is increasingly automated, the sky is the limit in terms of what they can produce. And if that means a flood of EVs or other vehicles on global markets, that is going to have the effects of just pulling down prices. And that's going to hurt Western automakers that are trying to compete with these.
Unlike their Chinese rivals, companies like Ford and GM have scaled back ambitious EV expansion plans, hampered by high battery costs and the slow rollout of EV chargers. Staffing costs and labour laws in the West are another disadvantage the US faces.
China has a lot less in the way of labor regulation than many Western countries. They don't have labor unions to deal with in the same way, so there are fewer impediments to automating.
But China's EV landscape is a crowded space, and fast robotization makes its competition even tighter. Chinese companies already turn out more EVs than all other car makers in the world combined. But Western concerns about Beijing's EV expansion have, so far, largely kept Chinese brands out of their markets.
Countries that have friendlier relations with China, like Brazil, countries in the Middle East, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, are worried as well about their own domestic industries and don't want to see a flood of Chinese products undermining those industries. If you have automation enabling China to go even faster and produce even more of this stuff, then this political problem becomes perhaps even greater.
So,
Some white niggas hating on China.
of course, yeah, there's going to be, anything that's presented from an American perspective is going to be negative towards China for the most part, and everything in China is going to be the opposite for the most part as well. Just makes sense, right? It's how
Do you think this is good?
You cater to your audience. Overall, though, I do, we need competition. I mean, matter of fact, this is the future. You know what I mean? We're going in this direction, whether people like it or not.
I was just mad they did it first.
Robotics is a big part of AI. Yeah, we're mad that we did it first, that we remain complacent because we don't really want to manufacture things in the U.S. But, well, if you're manufacturing in that way, well, okay, well, now it's maybe a different story. And they did mention there, like, oh, yeah, a lot of these countries might not be happy with this anymore, that China's doing all that. But similar to how foreign companies have factories in the U.S., you could have these factories producing those things with that level of robotics in whatever, Brazil or other South American countries. So that's something that people discount. China, a lot of things that they say are, a lot of deals with China are kind of manipulative where they're going to try to take things from underneath you. But if you are presented with a fair deal, I mean, China's going to get the sales and they need to take a more American approach in that sense and not try to rip people off. You got the better product to offer, and then you win.
Word. All right, let's finish this up.
As a result, most of these cars are sold inside China, making overcapacity a huge issue for the industry. But this doesn't dent ZEEKR's confidence in China's capacity to consume.
已经是10几年全球最大的汽车市场，消费的购车的，包括对车辆智能化、电动化、智能化的这个发展，对这些产品的需求增长非常快，我们还是能够看到一个非常好的前景。
So, what that motherfucker's mentioned there at the end is, the demand there is there for China because they are investing in the industry, they're building the infrastructure and things like that. And I think a lot of, if you're a developing nation, I think that's the way you're going to go, right? Are you going to, that's the future. So you're not going to build antiquated infrastructure like gasoline and shit like that anymore. You're going to go with this.
Yeah.
And with China offering it so cheap, they'll get all of the developing world, and the U.S. is going to be behind because we're resistant and, we don't want to make those sort of investments. And long term, we talked in other videos, you got to make the investment. Like WNBA, you invest in and it's losing money for a long time. WNBA keep losing money. When it's finally doing good, you need to get your payback finally. And this might lose a lot of money for a long time, but they'll eventually get their payback.
Word. Let us know in the comments what y'all think. Is this the way to go? Should we keep people? Is the future grim for the average American? This is matter of fact. Appreciate you for coming this far with us. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.